had it with this truck. Just kidding. Today we're gonna learn about heat shrinking. What's up everybody? Welcome back to Make It Custom. Thanks for watching. Today we're learning about heat shrinking. That's why I made this horrible dent in my truck as a demonstration. I did this truck 10 years ago before I had half the tools that I have. I've got probably 10,000 hammer hits myself in this thing. So it's not a perfect roof, so don't worry. I haven't metal finished this or anything. This actually gives me a chance to go over it all. Heat shrinking is one of those things that you need to know how to use when you're repairing damage. We have shown a little bit with the shrinking disc before, but the shrinking disc does have limitations. It's great for light damage, light shrinking, but if you have a golf ball hit of damage, that shrinking disc isn't gonna be enough. So what a heat shrink is, as best as I can explain it, there's multiple different ways of heat shrinking. You can hammer and dolly and heat shrink. That's for the really heavy ones that we're talking about. You can heat shrink by just heating and then cooling. The whole purpose of heating and then cooling, hot expands, cold contracts. And the reason why it shrinks it a little bit more than it heats it up, because obviously if you heat it up, you're gonna see it expand, and then if you cool it down, it's gonna contract. Well, heating it up also spreads out the molecules and it makes that metal a little bit softer, or it kind of anneals it. So when it does contract, it tends to tighten up a little bit more than it was previous to you heating it and cooling it. So you can hot and cold heat shrink by, just heating up a little dot and cooling it. That's one way. The other way with a hammer and dolly is where you see guys, they torch a little spot and then you see them hitting it. The purpose of today is to explain what they're doing and the science behind hitting it with the hammer and the technique that you need to know to have that be effective for heat shrinking. The way I like to think about it, or the process is, you heat up your little cherry dot and then you hit the center of that dot and you ding it. And it basically creates a little low spot. So you've heated up your little spot and you've dinged it down, it creates this little low. And then when you put your dolly on the back side and you hit here and here all the way around, picture this as a ring, This is the center of the ring, this is the outside. It's almost like a water droplet. It's a circular wrinkle that basically is what's happening. And so as you are hitting here, this is the first hit, this is your first hit right at the center while it's cherry red. And then this is your second hit. I don't know if this is a 2 backwards or not. I don't know. Does that 2 look like it's the right way?
Looks like an S to me.
Okay, well, this is the second. Doing it upside down for you guys for that. This is your second hammer hit. You're going around. So this is your cherry red dot. So you hit this down, and then you're gonna hammer hit here, 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 all the way around it. And because that center is hot and you pushed it down, it's created essentially a wrinkle and a soft spot, so that when you are hammer hitting all the way around your center hot spot, it is pushing all the metal towards the center. And the reason being is that that's the easiest place for it to go. It's warm, the molecules are spread out, it's soft, so that as you're hitting around it, it's pushing the metal into the center and it flattens out. So what we're gonna do, and the reason why I dented this right here, is to demonstrate that technique right now. So I'm not gonna heat shrink this right away, but I did stretch it. When I smoked it with the hammer, it stretched it out. Now that we've got this little dent here, it's poking up, I'm just gonna hit it down, get most of it out, but because we've stretched that metal, we're gonna have to heat shrink it. Okay, although I've hit it down as much as I can, it is still high because it's been stretched. Now, the best way to take care of that would be to heat shrink it. I could bring in a shrinking disc, but it would not get that all the way out. That is a relatively extreme hit. I smoked it with a ball peen hammer. So what I've got here is my oxy-fuel torch. Like I said before, I'm gonna heat the center of that. Hopefully Christina can get a good shot of it. This might be a little bit difficult, but if we can get a good shot of it, you'll see it rise. And then I'm gonna hit it, and I'm gonna hammer around it, and then I'm gonna cool it, and you will see it fall. You should be able to visibly see exactly what I'm talking about happening. Okay, so one more time. I'm striking in the center while it's hot, and then I'm going to be putting the dolly on the back side of the center strike, and I'm gonna hammer around it. Okay, so heating up the center, just like that. You see it's growing. And I'm gonna hit the center down. You see that center dent? And then we're cooling. I honestly don't think that could have worked out any better. Pretty much got it in one go. I mean, we've got a little bit of ripple that we can planish out, but that stretch is absolutely gone. That worked pretty much amazing. I didn't really think that it was gonna be that good of a go, but yeah, one and done for that one. There are a couple other little spots that I could do as well. But to recap what you saw, you hammer the center while it's hot. It makes a little dent, and then it's essentially like a droplet of water. It's got a ring around it now, and that ring is what you hit with the dolly on the center of the dent at the bottom. And as you hit around that dent is gonna come up and become thicker because it's the softest part. You're hammering around the softest part, and the metal has nowhere to go but into itself in the soft spot. Theoretically, if you were to take a caliper and find out the thickness of the metal right in the center of that stretch, and then we were to heat shrink it like we did, and then take a caliper again, that metal would physically be thicker because it has all pushed itself into that center spot. So now that's gone. I could hammer and dolly that a little bit, or use my new slapper and just kind of, actually I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna grab my slapper here, get rid of this totally, so that we're back to normal and my truck isn't mad at me. Yeah, looking good. Looking real good. So I'd like to demonstrate that again because I feel like you need to see it more than once to truly know. So rather than hitting the truck again, I'm just gonna find, I know there's another high spot. We actually have a bit of a high right here. So we're gonna show you one more time. This is a gas welding torch tip. You can use your regular cutting torch tip. You just gotta be really quick about it because they have a lot more heat. So just touch it and it'll be a red hot cherry. Okay, this is a little bit slower of a high spot. Maybe I can show you with this. See how that's looking pretty good? But then we've got that high looking good, and we've got a high. So I'm gonna get rid of that right now. We're gonna do one right there. We get our little cherry dot. We're gonna smack it down right in the middle. Be quick about it. And then we're cooling it off. So we've taken a little bit of material out of there. We could go a little more. Just while we're here, I think it's pretty funny. See all these little marks in here? They are from a shrinking hammer. And this was before I knew better, that shrinking hammers are total pieces of garbage, in my opinion. They are basically like a meat tenderizer for your steel that just marks the crap out of it and doesn't really do what they say they're gonna do. I feel like they're maybe for collision industry, when you're just like, you just got to get it done and you don't care what happens to the metal, just as long as it, you know, gets beaten into submission. That's what I did there, and I found out it doesn't work, so I'm pretty sure I tossed that hammer in the bush. Okay, getting back on topic, we're gonna do a couple more little heat shrinks, and you know, the more you heat it, the more you hammer it, the bigger the shrink. So if you do have to do just a little one, you could just do a little dot and, you know, light tapping, and you could control how much really happens. Because this is more of a slow high spot, it's not like that one where it was very acute. It was like, bam, one spot, had a lot of stretch. This is kind of a little bit stretched in a larger area, so I'm gonna do a few smaller heat shrinks around that. Did I say heat stink? I'm pretty sure I said heat stinks. It does kind of stink because the paint on the bottom side of this. Okay, let's do it again. Maybe one day I'll show gas welding. It's kind of a lost art that nobody cares about. It's fun though. Okay, it's another good spot to do. Probably right about right there. Do a little dot. Give her a tap, make it center. I'll just punch it down a little bit. Well, we're feeling a lot better. There's a bit right there. I'm gonna get another one. Oh yeah. Okay, see that now? It's a lot less crown. There are definitely some imperfections you're gonna see in there because this is 10 years ago, but yeah, there's a low right there actually. Right there. Where?
Go up a little. There.
Yeah, right here, right? Yeah, that's what I was seeing too. So there's a little bit of a low that could come up there, but this giant high has come down quite a bit. So, for our demonstration purposes, hopefully that was enough for you guys to kind of understand what heat shrinking is and how it works. I know that I watched lots of guys do it and never really fully understood what was happening until one guy, it was Brian Zuck. If you're a local guy and you're a hot rodder, you know who this guy is. He owned Ace Tattoo. He was one of the original torchmen. He's a local hot rodder, just a really great old school guy. Anyway, Brian Zuck explained it to me that way. He explained it to me where you heat up the dot and you smack the dot down, and as your dolly is on the back side of the inward dent that is now soft and hot, you hammer around that in a circle, and as your dolly pushes that soft dent up, it pushes the metal together while you're hammering around it. And that is heat shrinking. I hope that I explained it well enough, and I hope you guys get it, and I hope you guys use that tool, because for a lot of dent repair, that is just the best way to go. I've done that until very recently. I didn't have a shrinking disc until a few months ago. So heat shrinking by either heating up a dot and cooling it, or heating up a dot and hammer shrinking. That's how I've done it for years and years and years, and that's how guys have done it since the beginning of auto body. So thank you all for watching Make It Custom. Don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications, check out some of our other videos, comment, do all that stuff. If you found some value in it, tell a friend, help spread the word for us. Me and Christina really appreciate you guys, so take care everybody. See you on the next one.